Jello Romies of the internet, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I am here to review something that I've been waiting for a really long time, a little less than a year now, and something that I pre-ordered a little less than a year now, and that is the Marvel Legends Spider-Man No Way Home 3-pack, which includes Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, the main star of the film himself, Tom Holland. Now, admittedly, originally I only pre-ordered it because of, Andrew Garfield. He was my favorite Spider-Man. He was definitely the favorite Spider-Man suit that I remember seeing back in 2014, and so I knew that when I saw that it was up for pre-order, I had to get it immediately. However, about a month back to a few weeks back, when they finally released the actual figure, when they actually released video of the actual figures and I saw what they actually looked like in person, I'll admit that I was a little on the fence about whether I should just cancel my pre-order or not. But ultimately, I decided to not cancel the pre-order. I definitely loved. I definitely, after seeing the figures for a little while longer and just getting used to how they looked, I decided to give it a shot. However, I'm here to tell you whether that option that I chose was the right one, or if maybe you should just hold back and don't make the same mistake I did and just, wait for these figures to be released separately. So yeah, I'm here to tell you whether my decision was the right one or not, basically. So without further ado, I'm not here to review a box, so let's just get into the figures. Real quick, I do want to show off the accessories that these figures comes with. The Tom Holland one comes with one set of fists, one of the fists being on the figure. It also comes with a set of whipping hands, again, one of them being on the figure. It comes with two wall crawling hands, which are right here, and the Tobey Maguire one comes with wall crawling hands as well, just right here. Not too badly painted. It comes with this one as well, which I've seen a lot of people online complaining about. They say it looks chubby. And to be honest, I don't really mind it. I never really pose my figures in any other way besides standing up. So for me, that hand doesn't really affect it too much. Tobey Maguire also does have a set of whipping hands. And the Andrew Garfield one also does come with a pair of fists and also his own set of whipping hands, as you can see right here. A pair of whipping hands. And the fist right here. I do want to quickly show this off. Again, not too badly painted. All three Spider-Man also do come with this web line. And to be honest, again, I'm not really going to pose them with this. One thing I do want to mention, and I forgot if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I'm just going to record this in just in case, is that I will not be going over the articulation for these figures. I know that it's tradition for figure reviewers to go over articulation for figures. However, I don't really know the terminology for articulation all that well. I know the basic terms like butterfly joint, ankle pivot, stuff like that. But if I get something wrong, I really don't want to be embarrassed. So I'm just not gonna go over that. I'm mostly here to kind of go over detail, paint application, stuff like that. And plus, I normally only review Lego minifigures, so I kind of want to step out of my comfort zone. One and two. And two, these are figures that I've been waiting for a long time, and I just really want to give my opinion on these, So again, if I don't go over articulation, I am truly sorry. However, that is not what I'm here to do. I'm just here to give my opinion on whether these figures look great or not. Now, starting off with my least favorite figure, here I have Tom Holland's Spider-Man action figure, and the reason why it's one of my least favorite figures is just because of the body shape, I guess you could say. This figure is just, to me personally, it feels like they haven't really updated it since 2016. I know that here and there they've obviously updated it for the movie that it's supposed to be, but just the proportions on it look so weird. The foot just looks more like a comic book foot. It's so flat and it's so big. It doesn't really look like anything live action. It looks more like a comic book, straight out of a comic book. The body, it looks really weird, and it's just, for me personally, it looks really weird. Oh, there it goes again. Now, one thing I do want to mention is this figure. I forgot to mention it during the section of the accessories, but it also does come with these. It also does come with these gauntlets, which I took mine off of the figure. I know it makes the wrist look small, as you can see right here. Makes it look really small and just weird. But to me personally, it doesn't bother me. The figure is already one of my least favorite figures, so you know I didn't mind just taking that off. It's not really gonna change my opinion on the figure, anyways. But yeah, apart from that, this figure does have painted in web lines, which I think looks fine. It looks alright. Again, I don't really think anything that they do to this particular figure besides update the proportions or update the actual body mold is really gonna make this figure look any better. Especially since you know, for Tom Holland suits, his web lines are never really like, they're not really indented like they are in this figure, and they're not really raised like they are on, for example, like the Amazing Spider-Man or, you know, Raimi Spider-Man. They're more like just printed on to the actual suit, like the actual movie suit. His web lines are printed on, so again, they're not raised, they're not indented, and that's something I feel like, you know, maybe they should try and do, is if they ever do get around to finally updating Tom Holland's Spider-Man action figure, is they shouldn't make a sort of like web indent or a web or like web raise. They should just try and like paint the actual web onto. They should actually try and paint the web lines on, like, you know, like, I don't really know how to describe it, but you know, like, you know, like the comic book Marvel Legends action figures where they don't really have a raised web lines or indented web lines. It's an actual print onto the actual like figure. I feel like that's something they should try with Tom Holland's figure if they ever do decide to get around to it, you know, or maybe they might just continue like rehashing this horrible body mold, which it looks like it's been used since 2016, and it looks like it should have been left behind in 2016. You know, back when this figure was first released. You know, back in Captain America: Civil War. But yeah, I'm ranting a little too much. Let me just move on with this. You know, the figure is definitely accurate. It definitely looks like Tom Holland. It's just so many things wrong with this figure that just make so many things wrong with this figure that just make it the least desirable figure in my opinion. Also, something I did with these figures is I actually sealed off the lenses with a varnish. For this Spider-Man in particular, I did it with a glossy varnish, as I feel like his lenses are more glossy. So I sealed it off with a glossy varnish. And again, I did this for all three of the figures, so I am going to be showing it up close how that looks. Now moving on to my second favorite figure. Now, I know a lot of people have complained about this figure being just inaccurate. You know, the head sculpt, I guess you could say the proportions, the color, everything. They've been complaining, but to me personally, I really like it. I really like the head sculpt. I really like, you know, the color that they chose. Maybe they could have gone a few shades darker with the blue, and I really like the proportions. It looks like Tobey Maguire. It looks like there's an actual man under the suit. However, it could just be the fact that, in my personal opinion, I've never really liked the Raimi suit. When I was a kid, I obviously liked it because that was the one and only Spider-Man. However, as more time went on and they obviously came out with more Spider-Man, you know, and just the suits just got updated a little better, this suit definitely got left behind in my mind. It doesn't really make the top 5 Spider-Man suits in my opinion. There are definitely ones that are better that I prefer more over this one, which I know is like a very, very unpopular opinion, and I probably just made a lot of Raimi fans mad with that. But I never really liked this suit, to be honest. It looks really weird, you know. But getting this figure in action figure form, it somewhat changes my mind, you know, like just the way that they decided to make the head sculpt, the way that they decided to make the body, it definitely kind of bumps it up in terms of favorite suit with what they did here. Now, I've seen a lot of people have a lot of QC issues with the lenses. Mine came out perfect. There is a little bit of a weird like indent, I guess you could say, right here. If you could even see it, there's a weird indent on this one. This one looks perfect actually, but this one, there's a weird indent that just you know, it makes the lens look imperfect. However, it's not anything that just makes the figure downright like awful. I could just say that up, you know, this figure has gone through some battle damage or whatever, you know. It's midway during the fight, so yeah. But you know, other than that, this figure looks really good. The webbing on mine is also fine for the most part. I do notice that, like, for example, back here, there's like, if you look at it from one angle, it looks like the paint is incomplete, but when you look at it from another, the paint just appears. And that's because, you know, again, the webbing is raised, and so they obviously kind of just miss the paint just by a little bit, so that, you know, one side of the webbing didn't really get enough silvered paint. However, the other side got a lot of it, so, you know, that's why it tends to disappear here and there. I also do notice that this figure, the way that they decided to make this V shape going down, it kind of like just suddenly squiggles out and then back in, which makes it look like he has a gut, which this figure doesn't. You know, he's slim. However, when you look at it from here, it creates a weird illusion where it looks like he has a gut. And I did also forget to mention that I did seal this Spider-Man's lenses off with matte varnish, so, you know, I think that makes the lenses look just a little better, but also I hope that it's going to be able to protect the paint from it chipping anytime soon, you know. Finally, the figure that I have been waiting for since I saw the movie back in 2014, it's obviously Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure. And, you know, back in the day, when they first released the figure for the Amazing Spider-Man in the Marvel Legends wave, it looked off, and I didn't really like the figure even back then. Just something about it was just off, and I didn't really like it. And so to finally get this figure, especially so accurate and so, like, how it looks so close to the movies, it's just amazing to me. However, I do have a few problems with this figure here and there. But for right now, I just want to go over some of the positives. So right away, I'm really glad that they decided to get this head sculpt right. They got it correct. Back then, like I said, back with the 2014 one, the head sculpt was just off. It looked more like a comic book action figure overall than an actual Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man figure. And so to finally get this head sculpt right, I'm just really happy with it. Not only that, but they got the blue correct. The blue definitely looks accurate. You know, unlike the Raimi one, this blue looks accurate. However, the red is very inaccurate. It looks off. It looks a few shades darker than it should. I feel like it definitely should have been a brighter red. You know, back when they first released the render images, the red was perfect. I feel like they should just have made the blue a little darker. However, it looks like when they made the blue darker, they also decided to darken the red, which was just a very poor choice in my opinion. However, the red does have a little bit of a shine to it. It's almost like a pearl red, and you don't really notice it unless you look at the hands, you know, the pins right here. It's definitely more shiny. However, I feel like that shine is kind of dulled down a little bit with the black web lines. But, you know, apart from that, this figure just looks amazing. Oh, and the last thing that I quickly do want to mention is that this figure does come with a web shooter. And I have seen a lot of people, you know, complain when they try and put the figure in a webbing pose. What I've seen a lot of people do is they just kind of, you know, rotate the wrist, and obviously the web shooter just gets stuck to the side. However, what I feel like could counteract that is if you just turn the I don't really know what this is called. Again, this is why I'm not going over articulation, but you could just turn it up here and then, you know, obviously, like, line it up, and, you know, that kind of solves it. You know, he's you know, now the web shooter is actually aligned with the actual whipping hand. You know, it's no longer off to the side. So again, that's just something that I wanted to point out in case, you know, somebody has a problem with that, where they notice that the web shooter is off to the side. You could just turn the bicep swivel. That's what it's called. I completely forgot about that. I do really quickly want to go over what I did to the lenses. With this one, I kind of hit it with a glossy varnish, and I think it actually just makes it look a little better. You know, in the movie, his lenses were a little glossier than what the actual figure had to show, and so by putting that, I feel like it just adds a little bit more detail than what was already there. Overall, what is my final verdict? Do I think that you should get these figures, or do I think that maybe you should just skip out on these? And to be honest, I'm really happy with them. I'm really glad I pre-ordered these figures. You know, apart from the Tom Holland one, the other two are actually really good. I know that a lot of people have been complaining about the pricing, given that in total it was like $89, and for me with shipping and with taxes it was around 105. Um, so it's definitely expensive. However, it's your best option at getting accurate figures while also being budget friendly. As the other way you could get these figures are through SH Figure Arts. You know, they release their own line of figures. However, one of them I believe costs you like $70-$90 for just one. So if you don't want to go off spending that much amount of money, this is your next best option. So that's going to be the end of the video. Do let me know if this review helped out at all. Again, I do apologize for not going over articulation. It's just articulation has never been one of my strong suits. I just wanted to go over these figures because I was super excited to finally get them. Again, I've been waiting for these figures, well, mostly the Amazing Spider-Man one, since I saw the movie back in 2014. And again, I just had to get these figures. And not only did I want to get these figures, I also want to give my own review on them, my own take, and everything like that. So again, if this review helped you out in any way, shape, or form, do let me know down in the comments below. And again, subscribe if you want to be a Ka-Chow Little Romeo, and I'll see you all in the next video.